Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning, and that means it's time to talk with me, Jen Graziano. I am an attorney and licensed funeral director who oversees my family's funeral homes, Cox and Graziano of both Mamaroneck and Greenwich, the Zion Memorial Chapel of Westchester, and now the Fred D. Knapp Funeral Home of Greenwich. Every week, I come to you discussing important topics and sensitive matters that all of us need to pause and reflect upon at some point. And through this show, we hope to provide a platform to do so. So a bit of a new space, everyone. Change is never an easy thing. It's bittersweet. It's wonderful to continue, but WVOX certainly has a place embedded in my heart, and it forever will. We had 8 beautiful years on the show. And through that show, we've raised awareness to many, many challenging conversations, and we've helped pave the way to have those conversations and to really get people thinking about things that they might not otherwise have had. So therefore, the show must go on. In order to continue watching, we'll invite everyone to go to our website, timetotalkwithjen.com, sign up for the show. We're a podcast now. You can listen to us wherever you hear your favorite podcasts. And of course, we stream on Facebook Live and YouTube every Monday. Those of you watching on Facebook this morning, we will take your questions and comments, join in the conversation, and on with the show. It's taken me a minute to adjust to my new soundtrack, the new music. But anyway, I am joined this morning by the director of the Pediatric Cancer Foundation, NancyJoselson. I'm happy to have you on this maiden voyage of our new format, and delighted to have you on to talk about this is a tough subject today, but I think it's a very important subject to raise awareness to. We really want to garner the support of as many people as we can in this endeavor. And we'll also be bringing on someone very near and dear to my heart. I would say she's a friend, but she's really more of my family. So we're going to talk about the direct impact that your organization has had on her. But Nancy, welcome. I'll begin with you.
Yes, I'm so pleased to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Nancy, 27 years is a long time to be with an organization, so I can only imagine how dear the Pediatric Cancer Foundation, PCF, is to you. Can you tell our listeners and viewers a bit about your background and how you came to PCF?
Well, I believe in a higher power, and I've always had jobs based on that. And I had my third child. Actually, I'm so sorry. I've had my second child. It was Ariel. And I had her in one of those sling things. And I realized there was something missing from my life. And what was missing was that I wasn't working. And I've always been working. So I said, I don't really have time to look for a job, but I want to do something meaningful, impactful. And I need to work from home because I have 2 kids. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to put this in God's hands. And I took my daughter, Danielle, my older daughter, to dance class. And somebody knocked on my window and they said, they don't know me very well, but they know that whatever I do it 150%. So they recommended me for a job. And I said, really? What? Wow. And so they said they recommended me to manage a walkathon for Pediatric Cancer Foundation. And I said, okay. And the truth is, I didn't even know what a walkathon was. This was 27 years ago. It wasn't in the dictionary. And I went through these different interviews with people just so happened that didn't also know what a walkathon was. But because they recommended me, I got the job. So I went in with a tremendous amount of humility because I honestly didn't know what a walkathon was, but I felt that I was being directed by a higher power. So I just embraced it. And that year we went from $12,000 the previous year to $100,000. And they said, we'd like you to stay. And I said, I'll stay. I said, whatever title you want to give me is fine. And they named me the director of the foundation.
Well, it's very serendipitous. And I too believe in a higher power that brings the right people to the right places and puts the right people together. So we have you on because September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Specifically, I did not know September 14th was named Pediatric Cancer Foundation Day in Westchester County. And the county center was in lights. As well as the former Tappan Zee Bridge. I was in the gold is your color, correct?
Correct. And we were so happy to see the bridge lit up on September 14th in our signature color gold.
So for those who don't know, just joining us, the Pediatric Cancer Foundation is a nonprofit charitable organization dedicated to eradicating childhood cancer by raising funds for groundbreaking research and early phase clinical trials conducted by world-renowned doctors at the hospitals that they support. So this has got to be a labor of love, Nancy, because this is a hard and heavy subject. Can you talk a bit about, during your tenure, what advancements that you have seen and the direct nexus between funds that you have raised and advancements that have taken place?
Well, when I first started with Pediatric Cancer Foundation, we were just funding one hospital. And today we're very pleased to announce that we're funding 10 hospitals.
Are they local hospitals, Nancy?
We support hospitals across the country, but the wonderful thing is that all of these doctors now, because of technology and because of Zoom and everything else, they're able to present internationally and have impacts with all the hospitals in the country and in the world.
So, Nancy, let's talk a bit about what has changed for this organization in recent years. How has the fundraising efforts changed, if at all? Have you grown larger? What are other ways that you're garnering support? Are you just finding that more people are coming to you who are directly impacted by various forms of the disease?
Well, we have an email distribution list, and we have a website, which is www.pcfcares.org. And people find out about us. And I have my cell phone on 24/7, and people connect with me, and we are making new friends and followers every day.
I think, and we're going to bring someone in now who's going to attest to that, but I think one of the greatest things that you do is to foster this sense of community by people whose lives are so impacted. You are right, Nancy. It's very hard to imagine, especially being a mom, but 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer by their 20th birthday. I'd like to talk about that a little more and what research has indicated and how you can speak to that. But I'd like to bring in now somebody who has been directly impacted by pediatric cancer. She's in her second go round right now, fighting harder than ever, with the most amazing mother supporting her and family. Like I said, I'm going to call her part of my family, not just my friend. But Gigi, are you on the line? Oh, there you are. Hi, Gigi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gigi, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, my name is Gigi Ambrosio. I'm 17 years old, and I'm currently in my second fight with Ewing sarcoma, a rare form of bone cancer that affects the soft tissue.
And Nancy, full disclosure, Gigi is how I got to know who you were, because she speaks so highly of the work that is done and the support that both she and her mom feel from the organization. Gigi, you're an ambassador for PCF. Is that true?
Yes.
And you're kind of like a familiar face. You're featured you were just at the opening of the Wall Hours in Mamaroneck, which we want to plug support for those who are supporting this organization. So Wall Hours, a paint store, recently opened on Mamaroneck Avenue, right in the village of Mamaroneck off 95. A little plug for them this morning as well. But Gigi, talk a bit about your journey and how you met up with PCF and Nancy.
So I want to say I joined PCF I want to say it was maybe 6 months ago, and I met Nancy through a mutual friend because she knew that I wanted to get involved somehow, because raising awareness for pediatric cancer is very close to my heart. But at this time, I hadn't relapsed yet, but I still wanted to do something because I had already done an ambassadorship for Stop and Shop's Cure Childhood Cancer campaign, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to get involved more. So a mutual friend of me and Nancy's put me in contact with Nancy, and we had a wonderful phone call that same night. And then, just from there, I joined their junior committee, and I've gone to their bake sales at the Westchester Mall. We did a home run derby and adult softball game, and then the wall hour opening, and at each event I had the privilege of speaking about my own journey, and it's really special to me because I think when people are hearing about an organization like this, I think it speaks louder when you hear it from like an actual child going through it, and I feel like it makes more of an impact on them.
Absolutely. You put a face to it, and it's real. Nancy, talk a bit about developments in the fight against pediatric cancer, what you've witnessed firsthand through your position as the director of the organization. Where are we now in this fight?
Well, Pediatric Cancer Foundation has played a critical role in moving survival rates from 58% in 1970, that's when we were founded, to 80% today. So that's very impressive.
I would say. And Gigi, tell us some specific ways. I know there's been great events that you listed, but what are some specific ways that PCF has supported you during this time?
So, one thing I love to mention, and I've said it at every event I've spoken for them, is when I relapsed, I had the same exact cancer I had when I was 13 years old. And between the end of that treatment and now, that was a 3-year time period. Just short of 3 years, but that's not a long time at all.
No.
Because of funds raised through organizations, especially PCF, I don't know any other organization that does it like we do over at PCF. Just within that less than 3-year time period, my chemo regimen is completely different than the first time. The first time around, I was so ill. I did not go to school. I didn't go to school. I was so ill. My friends only saw me either inpatient at the hospital or at my house. I was sick all the time. I couldn't see people. I was neutropenic. And I didn't feel like I was living. Like I felt, then I finished chemo. So now this time around, oh, and to mention, those chemo infusions the first time would be anywhere between 6 to 8 hours long.
Wow.
So that's a very long day. And that's just the chemo infusion. That's not even including the pre-meds, the hydration. So it would be a very long, exhausting day. And it was a lot. It was a lot. But this time, I'm diagnosed with the same exact cancer. Literally, I want to say the tumor is inches below the first site. My chemo regimen this time has changed so much that I only go in for my infusions for 2 hours. I sit there for 2 hours. Now, 8 hours and 2 hours, that is a big difference. Not only is my infusion itself shorter, I'm only on 2 drugs this time. Last time I was getting so many, and I feel great. I feel like I can function as a human being and also balance my health. I'm going to school. I hang out with my friends as much as possible. I go out with my friends and my family. And honestly, like I really do feel like a human being this time, and I don't feel the burden of it. Like I don't feel like cancer is all I am anymore. When before it took over my entire life, that's what I thought I thought I was only cancer. I thought that's what only people saw when they saw me. But now I feel like I can be my own person, and this is just something on the side that I'm going through. And that is because of these funds going to research that they have helped my case, my regimen in just under 3 years.
Nancy, I don't know what more anybody would ever need to hear other than what Gigi just said in order to donate or take part. I mean, that is the most detailed, specific example. People always wonder, where do their dollars go? Do they make a difference? And I don't think anybody could have said that better than Gigi. So I understand why she's your ambassador. And I can also attest to the fact that you do have a great social life now. So, so what she said is very true. a great, you're in your senior year, correct?
Yep.
So, Nancy, we are in a month where we need to continue. First of all, I mean, this is an ongoing. It doesn't, Gigi's battle doesn't end at the end of the month. I mean, this is ongoing. The support that is needed, you can only imagine, for not just the patients but their families. It's ongoing, ever needed support. What can be done, Nancy? What are you looking for from the community, aside from the recognition of, okay, hey, we're here? What can be done? And how can we get involved?
Well, we really would love to have more subscribers and friends to Pediatric Cancer Foundation, and people join us at our upcoming fundraiser, actually, which we're going to be having at Modern Barn on November 16th, which is in Armonk, New York. And you can find out more about that on our website, which is www.pcfcares.org. But I want to say that I am also a cancer survivor, an adult cancer survivor, and I saw firsthand what it did to my family. It turned everybody upside down. But when I was asked to be a spokesperson, I declined it because I said, I'm involved with Pediatric Cancer Foundation, and I see what it does to kids and their families. So I respectfully declined because we still don't get the federal and pharmaceutical funding that we need. And so we really need everyone's support. And there can be, of course, we love adults to come to our fundraisers, but we have a junior committee, and which is high schools across the country, which we have ambassadors or kids coming and having events. And then we also have a Manhattan chapter of young professionals that get involved with our charity. And we even have a Brooklyn chapter, which is doing an event on November 4th, a comedy night. But anybody can call me at any time, and I would love to speak with them about fundraising efforts that they would like to participate in. My telephone number, my cell, is 914-282-8072. And I would love to chat with anybody who would like to get involved with our charity.
So, Nancy, and I don't know, Gigi, if you can weigh in on this, but you talked a little bit about before in the notes that you sent over to me how technology has improved for the screening of cancer. Is this technology that's allowing for earlier detection? Are there any common threads that come forward early on with the pediatric cancer diagnosis, or things that should suggest to a parent it's time for screening? Talk a bit about the technology and if there's any common threads in the early part of the diagnosis for pediatric cancer.
Well, I mean, as I said to you in my notes that of course, pediatric cancer is a life-threatening disease, and that the incidence of childhood cancer is on the increase. And that is because since the mid-1970s, where there's an increase of 24% over the last 40 years in terms of, being able to discover pediatric cancer. And that, it's scary, but it's a good thing, because that way it can be treated rather than it having grow in a child.
Absolutely. And Gigi, I don't know how comfortable you are to share with your journey and your early diagnosis, but it's a life-changing conversation that you have with the doctor, but you're living proof that you can stay the course of treatment and you can survive and thrive, and you're doing wonderfully, thank God. But can you talk a little bit about your early detection process?
So the first time I was diagnosed, I was playing a softball game. So this was back when I was in 8th grade. I was 13 years old. I was playing a softball game, and I was catcher, so I was catching the entire game, every single game. And after this one particular game, I came home and I had the worst pain in both of my knees, but we just assumed like I'm squatting, catching at a softball game for hours, and it's just sore, so I would ice, whatever. Then I would want to say maybe 5 months later, the pain in my right knee went away. However, the left never went away. But when we really got concerned was when I couldn't bend or straighten my left leg. So then that's when I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and when they took my first x-ray, they knew right away. They were
Wow.
like, this is a sarcoma. So then they gave me an MRI, and it all happened so quickly. It happened, I want to say, within the span of like 4 days. 4
Wow.
days.
Wow.
Maybe even 3. But still, that was a very short time frame that I got an x-ray. They knew exactly what it was. And then a day later, I was at Memorial Sloan Kettering meeting my oncologist, Dr. Myers. So, and then they already knew that it was a sarcoma. They didn't know if it was Ewing sarcoma or osteo, but they were leaning more towards Ewing's, and they could tell through that by scans and everything. And then within a few days, I had a biopsy. They knew right away when I woke up from surgery. They knew right away what it was. So it really happens fast. The technology is amazing at catching it quickly.
I mean, life changes on a dime for sure. But again, firsthand account of how this research, where the money is going to effective research that's really leading towards treatment and cures. Nancy, what are the 10 hospitals that are currently funded in part by PCF?
Well, we just added 2, which are Johns Hopkins and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. But our first one is New York Presbyterian Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital,
Okay.
University Medical Center, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, Stephen D. Hasenfeld Children's Center for Cancer and Blood Disorders at NYU Langone Medical Center, Feinstein Institute of Medical Research, Cone Children's Medical Center of New York, Northwell Health, Maria Freri Children's Hospital at Westchester Medical Center, Comer Children's Hospital, the University of Chicago Medicine and Biological Services, the Tisch Cancer Center, Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai Health Systems, the Ohio State University College of Medicine, the Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital. And just this past year, we've added Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Johns Hopkins University.
Wow, that is impressive for sure. So Gigi, aside from, Pediatric Cancer Foundation, what they've raised and how that's helped, the camaraderie, the support system, talk a bit about the junior board and how that's helped you. I mean, I assume that when you're surrounded by people fighting the same battle, it's one thing to share your story and people empathize and sympathize, but those going through it know it at a more intimate level. Talk a bit about your experience on the junior board and what that has done for you.
So we meet as a junior committee once a month, and I gotta say it's refreshing seeing people my age, around my age, like that some live near me, some don't, that have the same, like they have the same, they care for the same thing. I know all these kids, they want to be doing this. They want to be raising awareness. And it makes me feel good as a one-time survivor when I met them all. And then our past meeting was, I shared my story and I shared that I was going through it again. And I get amazing support from them. I've met many of them at our events, and it really feels good when you see other kids your own age fighting for something that you're going through, raising awareness for what you're going through, and it's also like these are teenagers. It's not like all adults running it. These are teenagers that will also hold their own events. They will come up with their own ideas, and they will say, "Hey, Nancy, I want to do this," and we get it running. And I'm so happy I'm a part of the junior committee.
Well, you're a wonderful spokesperson for the committee. Nancy, what can we do in the immediacy? What can be done? Is there something, something to commemorate the month in September? Anything we can be on the lookout for? How do we donate? we want to really do a call to action right now and getting people involved in this fight, because it is a fight, and it's a fight that a battle no one should ever have to wage. But nonetheless, what can we do?
Well, you can go to our website, which is www.pcfcares.org, and look to see if there's any fundraiser that you'd like to get involved with. In addition, I mean, again, if you're an adult, we would love so much to have you come to our Cocktails for a Cure event on November 16th in Armonk, New York. You can call me. We can brainstorm. More than anything, I love to chat. You can ask anybody. Yeah.
You are, and you're very friendly and very passionate about what you do. So you're very easy to talk to.
Thank you. I mean, it's in my DNA. I mean, my idea of the perfect vacation is to go anywhere, but always have my cell phone with me and my work computer with me so that I can, be in contact with everybody, because there's nothing, more important than helping children with cancer. And I just, and I love the impact that, working with families and meeting the people that I meet. I mean, it's just, it's in my DNA, and it gives me a reason to wake up every day is to help these kids and help these families. I just, I'm just so moved by Gigi. And at our last event, I said to her, I looked at her and I said, "Oh my God, you are like the most perfect person I've ever met." I said, "I've never met anybody like you."
That's very true.
So, and I really meant it. And she knew that. And I even said, I wished my kids were like you. I mean, and then I said, my kids are great. But, it's Gigi is the best ambassador we could possibly have. And I just would love for anybody to call me and to brainstorm ideas, to get involved with our upcoming fundraiser again at Modern Barn, November 16th. We were trying to get a full house. We love sponsors. And again, just anything you can do, just your imagination, just call me and we can chat and conquer the world.
Gigi, as our time is coming to a close, any final thoughts? What's the real message that you want to drive home today?
I would say that when you're donating to PCF, it's not one of those organizations where you donate and you don't know where that money is actually going, because that it could go anywhere. But PCF, it is an amazing cause run by amazing people. And I tell Nancy, I told her this at our last event. I've told her so many times she's the most perfect person to be doing this. And I just want them to know to see that I'm living proof of what PCF does for actual children, and that they actually do help a lot.
It's a wonderful message, Gigi, because people do question sometimes, where is this going? But you speak so beautifully to your personal journey, and you show that, money goes to its intended purpose. And I think that's important nowadays with so many organizations out there, money not going to the intended cause, but we don't have that here. Gigi, I thank you for being brave enough to share your story today. And not just today, you continue to raise awareness to the cause, and you really have an ability to connect with people and put a real face to it. All of our prayers are with you as you wage this battle and continue to fight. And better days are ahead of you. I know that. And Nancy, I thank you, first of all, for the work that you do. There is a special place for you. To do this type of work is certainly a labor of love. It's heavy, for sure. So I thank you both for sharing your personal stories and raising awareness. Once again, folks, www.pcfcares.org. We encourage you to go there today following the show. There's always ways to get involved. And I thank you both.
Thank you so much for having us today.
We'll have you back. You're welcome. We'll have you back again. And this was Jen Graziano, thanking you all for taking the time to listen, as once again, we took the time to talk. Have a great day, everyone. Sign up on our website, timetotalkwithjen.com, and keep watching the show. Bye-bye.